All right. To start things off, we're not going to waste any more time. We're going to get into the Chargers versus Texans. Jesse, your Texans defeated the Chargers 32-12 in this one. It looked pretty bad at first. The Texans offense could not get anything going towards the beginning of this game, but they were able to turn it around. So what I'm going to ask you is just what are your thoughts on this one and what are your takeaways?
Well, first off, first half, I was worried. Not gonna lie, we were
Yep.
heavy underdogs going into it. I was not ready. Coming in, starting off giving up 6 points in the first, what was it, 15 or 10 minutes?
Yeah.
Not.
Yeah.
But then, I don't know. Our defense started to carry us. Second half came around. CJ kind of got in his bag, put us in the lead, and we took off with it.
Yeah, a huge turning point too in that first half. It was like it wasn't inside 2 minutes, but right before the 2 minute warning, CJ Stroud like dropped the snap. I don't remember if it was like high, but he dropped it and then he was able to improvise and make a great throw to Xavier Hutchinson, my Iowa State guy there. So that really turned the offense around. Nico Collins had 7 catches for 122 yards in this one. He averaged 17.4 yards per catch, and he really starting to establish himself as one of the premier receivers in the league. In your opinion, do you believe he's a top 5 wide receiver?
Honestly, I think this season, the way it started for him, if he didn't get injured, I think he'd be up there in passing yards. He might have been able to catch Jamar Chase for that. Uh, he was an elite receiver for us. He was C.J. Stroud's number one weapon, really. Whenever it wasn't working with Diggs or Tank Dell when they were healthy, that's who we'd always dump off to, and it always worked out for us. So I think if he wouldn't have gotten hurt, he would have definitely been top 5, maybe top 3.
Yeah, I agree. And this is just such a huge loss for the Texans, too. Their offense has obviously regressed this year. I think you would agree with that. But yeah, losing Stephon Diggs, who was their big free agent signing, and then Tank Dell as well, going out again with another season ending injury, just really hurt the team in general. But again, like you said, the defense has really stepped up and carried this team this year. They are incredible on that side of the ball. But another off-season acquisition they made that I think really made a difference was Joe Mixon, who's just been so consistent throughout the year. Has he like exceeded your expectations when you first saw that your team signed him in free agency?
I wouldn't say he exceeded him, really. I kind of set the bar high, knowing that he come from a good Bengals team. They went to the Super Bowl.
Right.
He's always been a good running back. I wouldn't say I really had expectations. I was just excited to have a running back who had playoff experience in that backfield to help the younger guys like Ogum. Oh my God, cut that.
No,
Ogumbawale.
no, we're keeping that in. We're keeping that in, Jesse.
Dare Ogumbawale and Damian Pierce, who we drafted. We had high hopes for him. He just really didn't show up these past couple of years. But I'm hoping with having Joe Mixon there as a leader, he can help train them and bring them to where they should be.
Yeah, absolutely. And this has just been the year of the running back here in the NFL. I mean, we have Josh Jacobs, of course, on my team, who's been a beast. Saquon Barkley, if he would have played in the 17th game of the year, he would have broken Eric Dickerson's rushing record probably. And then, of course, you have Derrick Henry on the Ravens, who we will talk about later. Sort of switching gears now to the Chargers for this game. Justin Herbert did not play well at all. To be fair, it was a good Texans defense he's going against, like we said, but he went 14 of 32 and he threw 4 picks. Do you think this was just a bad game from him, or is he just not that guy in the playoffs? Is he a little overrated?
I'm sure he had some jitters having a good real team. He really didn't have any receivers to throw to. 2 of those interceptions, I mean, yeah, the interception is quarterback stat, but 2 of those receptions were on his wide receivers.
Yeah, it wasn't his
They
fault.
should have been caught.
Yep.
Right through his hands, right to Derek Stingley. I mean, you can't really blame Herbert for those ones. But the other 2, I mean, yeah, I don't think he's overrated. I think it was just a bad game, bad timing. First year under Coach Harbaugh, I mean, they went, 10-5?
10-7, I believe.
10-7. They went 10-7. I mean, first year under a new coach going 10-7 is hard to do.
Mm-hmm.
I think they'll come back next year, probably stronger, maybe get some other weapons for Justin Herbert. So I don't think it was I don't think he's overrated. I think it was just a fluke game.
Yeah, absolutely. And John Harbaugh, like you mentioned, he transitioned flawlessly back to the NFL. He was originally on the 49ers. He took them to the Super Bowl. And then he went to Michigan and he won them a national championship. And then he comes first year with the Chargers and they make the playoffs. So I think for the first time in a long time, it seems like the Chargers are actually on an upward trajectory. I don't think a whole lot of people expected them to win this game anyway. But circling back to Justin Herbert, I agree with what you said. I don't believe he's overrated either. I think he's seems like a pretty chill guy too. Pretty easy guy to root for in general. Um, like compared to some other people in this league. So
Yeah.
again, just probably just a bad game. Playoff jitters going up against a great defense and a lack of weapons, I think, really ultimately did the Chargers in for this one. A bright spot for them, though, Lad McConkey, is it McConkey? Lad McConkey, the rookie receiver out of Georgia, was a beast. He went for 9 catches for 197 yards and a touchdown. He really, especially like in the first quarter, he really made his presence felt in this game. Did you just what are your thoughts on him in general?
Oh, he's an animal.
Mm-hmm.
He coming in, he's what they would say undersized for a wide receiver. But I mean, you look at other guys that compare him to like Eric Weddle, Julian Edelman, Wes Welker, stuff like that.
Yep.
Just a small guy, but he does his job. Obviously, he had 197 yards against us, against a good defense. So I mean, I think that speaks for itself.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, I'm sure you're very happy. You're